And here we are with another Two Straws.
Hello. Thank you for joining us.
We're twinning. Yeah, get that hair in there. I mean, get that hair out of there.
Luxurious hair.
Yeah. Welcome to another Two Straws brought to you by Duelbits.
Rewarding beyond limits.
Beyond all limits.
Beyond.
If you saw all our posts this weekend, you would have played our free-to-play game.
And you would be happy because I picked some winners.
Yeah, you did.
Angela did not.
I didn't, but unfortunately, Jess forgot to bring the ingredients for the Ortega Cortez cocktail.
2 weekends in a row. I think I need to start writing things down. My memory is slipping me in
You
my
need a
old
grocery
age.
list. All your ingredients for the cocktail, all your bells and whistles you promised me.
I know.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
I can't wait. I really want to see what you come up with.
I'm excited too. I have some ideas.
I'm scared.
It's gonna be
but
nasty as fuck.
I'm scared but excited. So yeah, if you guys don't know, every week we've been making our picks for the fights. I picked Lemos by early stoppage.
And I picked Jandiroba by submission.
And it backfired because I was just being cunty when I did that. But the cuntiness backfired, and Virna did win by submission. It was pretty impressive.
A beautiful submission,
Dude,
in fact.
One that our lovely Jess has also hit in fights before.
I love transitioning from the back to an armbar.
Yeah.
It is, especially because in MMA, it's just a little bit easier to stall out, defend, submission attempts, especially from the rear naked choke. Later in the rounds, as you go, it gets a little bit more challenging as well, like slipperiness.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's sneaky, it's fast, and it's really effective. It catches people really off guard, as it did for Lemos.
Yeah, I've been hit with it before by that girl that we shouldn't even talk about, Randa. Randa, where is she? Where is that girl now? Randa, where you at? Like, let us know you're okay. But
I'm still blocked, so
did you?
I don't even know why.
I don't
know why.
I'm probably blocked too. That whole group blocked me after the show, and I wasn't
why?
even like, yeah, I thought we were cool.
I thought we were too, and then at the last day, they wouldn't sign my jersey.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, how long has this been going on?
Yeah, right. I got signatures. I got a signature from JoJo. I got a signature from someone else that I was like, oh, they're not signing people's stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm cool. Like, they still like me. Maybe my little episode at the post-fight dinner made them not like me anymore. But, yeah, Randa.
It made me like you even more.
Yeah.
I want to be her friend.
She's fun, especially when she's drunk. She's a character.
I've been going to bed way too early and missing all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I was drinking the whole show. Did you see that one guy? They were like, oh, man, this guy's...
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I started drinking because I lost my first fight on Tough. If you guys didn't know, we were talking about Tough. We
catch up.
We kind of assumed everyone knew what we were talking about, but yeah, I was drinking on the show after I knew I had no chance of winning. Like, well, here goes my sorrows down the hatch. But there's a guy on Tough now that is still in the competition, and people are saying that he was getting drunk every day.
Yeah, so this is kind of weird because we have, 7 to 8 weeks of filming The Ultimate Fighter, and they really focus in on storylines. So I don't know what the actual reality of the situation is, but they are definitely, it's definitely a thing because they have footage of it and people are talking about it, but they create these storylines. And so I don't know how serious it is, but they're making it look like he may have a little problem.
Yeah, like I saw video of Valentina Shevchenko defending her no water policy, and it kind of sounds more normal than they made it seem like on the show.
Oh yeah, they made her sound like she was a
Yeah, say it. Say it.
I don't want to say it.
Say it.
I stopped myself.
Water Nazi. No water for you. No. Yeah, they made it seem like she was just really bad at allowing people to drink, but when she defended herself, it sounded like she was just mad people kept taking bathroom breaks in the middle of practice. So yeah, you don't know what the storyline could have actually been in reality, but it seemed like he was having little cocktails, putting a little alcohol in his water bottle, doing all sorts of stuff that doesn't seem good for fight camp, doesn't seem good for recovery. It's hard for your muscles to repair when you're drinking all the time.
So I was just doing an OnlyFans live on Friday after sparring with our friend Kat.
After sparring.
I looked
How did
great.
that go?
It looked great.
Yeah.
It's also in my feelings, so it's a rough one.
Oh, no.
But
they're like, cry for the dollars. Cry on those titties.
Somebody. I'll wipe my tears with some dollars, but you got to give them to me. It's so much more soothing.
Oh man.
But somebody asked, what's the main thing that I miss during fight camp? And I mean, I'm not that big, so I don't have to necessarily deprive myself, especially, training, picking up the intensity. Right. You burn calories like crazy. But I've noticed, especially with my Oura ring, keeping me in check, and it gives me, the sleep status numbers and recovery. I've noticed on the nights that I have wine, which I drink wine like every night. Bless you.
Oh my goodness.
You okay? You need a tissue? You need a little break? Sniff it up.
I'm good.
Get up
there,
girl.
Let's go. Let's do this.
But I've noticed that there's a huge dip in my recovery if I have a glass of wine at night, especially during fight camp. This is, really important. So I miss the wine during that time. And if he's drinking every single night, even if it's just a little bit, it affects your REM sleep. It affects basically everything.
Yeah. And I think everyone's different, but I definitely feel a difference when I cut out alcohol. I usually do it towards the last 3 or 4 weeks of camp, just to make sure every training I'm getting my full bounce back from sleeping and everything. But a lot of people, it's also hard to just have one. Like you're saying, you have trouble sleeping when you have a glass of wine. A lot of people have a bottle.
I mean, I could get down with a bottle too if I'm not paying attention.
Exactly.
And not holding myself accountable.
If you're super thirsty, and it's easy to have one drink and go, I could do one more. Yeah. And then after that second drink, it's a lot easier to say, I could do one more. And then,
and then you're so sad, and you're calling, Uber Eats or Postmates to get you another bottle.
Yeah, and fighters aren't known for having good impulse control, so
it's one of the superpowers.
Yeah, we just go with it. Fucking go with the feeling.
We got that. Fuck it.
And yeah, I hope he's all right. But I haven't really been following the show, so I don't even know if he's fought. Yeah,
but little stuff like that, little storylines like that, kind of pique my attention, and I feel like I have to do a good binge watch to catch up.
Yeah,
and see where we're at, because I think there are some good fights happening. There's some good stuff, and I mean I'm a fan of Alexa Grasso and Shevchenko, so I'd like to see them as coaches and see a little bit more personal side of them, rather than what we just see, prepping for a fight.
Yeah, I found that the little bit of clips I saw of Shevchenko pushed me either one way or another. Okay. I'll go, man, she's a horrible coach. Or I'll go, wow, she looks insane, but I like it.
Well, that's the magic of reality TV. You know, they create the storylines, and it's not like she's not saying or doing these things, but the context in which they edit everything really makes, really sways somebody's opinions one way or the other.
Yeah, I sent that clip to you the other day where she goes, we always learn. If we stop learning, we die. That's amazing. I love that quote.
It's real, though.
Especially with the smile and the wide eyes. When we stop learning, we die. Okay. Shevchenko is legit.
I like her. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. But anyway, we have to go back to that amazing armbar by Virna. You know what I was really upset about with the whole come up, and it's to be expected. I was really upset with the comments on every social media about the main event and how it sucked.
It didn't suck.
I mean, now that it happened, yeah, it didn't suck. But when they booked it, everyone was either making fun of Virna's looks or making fun of Lemos's looks,
You just need to get over it.
or saying that female fighters don't belong in the UFC or they should have their own league or all these other things. And there was one particular guy on the card who had maybe the most shit performance of everyone. And he had the nerve to say in one of his post-fight interviews that he doesn't watch women fights. He goes to the toilet or gets a snack.
Well,
he needs to be watching the grapplers because he can't grapple for shit.
taking some notes.
Taking
Some notes from your girl, Virna.
Watch all of Virna's fights. Go back. Watch Tatiana Suarez. Watch how people defend takedowns. Like, go back and watch, I don't know.
Who was this gentleman offender?
His name was, it started with a rad. I remember that because I was like, that's not very rad at all.
Radzhabov?
Yes, Radzhabov.
He took on Ogden.
It was very much.
You know what? I actually was definitely cooking in the kitchen when that fight went on. I don't remember it at all.
Hey, at least you're making a sandwich, so he can't be too bad.
Steak and potatoes. I was cooking Grace her birthday dinner.
Ooh, nice. See, y'all need to wife her up. She makes that for her dog. Imagine what she'd make for you. That's the commercial right there.
As long as they're not in the doghouse.
Hey, you'll be sleeping on the, I don't know, on the couch. If you're allowed on it. That guy needs to watch some female fights for sure because he could take some notes on how to stand up, how to defend a takedown, how to sprawl a little bit, how to not go wide with your elbows every time you throw a punch.
Oh,
it was a really it was very much a striker versus grappler type of fight, but Ogden just had a little more in the striking department than he had in the grappling department, and it was actually pretty close because there were moments where Ogden was on top, he was trying to get the submission, but at the same time, Radzhabov would throw more punches in the stand-up. He would land more on the stand-up, and it was really just a toss-up of what the judges were looking for. I think Ogden got closest to finishing the fight in 2 of the rounds at least, so they gave it to Ogden. But he looked like a fish out of water with his back on the ground. It was really surprising for someone who talks such a big game about how superior men are at fighting.
Well, sometimes the universe has its way of humbling you in the best ways possible.
The universe is Ogden, and he sat on his ass.
He's his own constellation now.
Yeah, and I thought it was cute. The whole time he was trying to set up one of his submissions, they were talking about mother's milk, the mother's milk submission.
Oh God.
So I thought that was pretty ironic. Yes.
You got a full dose of humble pie.
Yes, a full dose. We should break that one down too.
Absolutely.
The mother's milk submission is a really nice one. I feel like if Radzhabov's shoulders were just a little bit smaller, Ogden would have been able to cinch that up.
All right. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. It was a good one for the humble pie aspect. But going back to Virna versus Lemos, how did you see the fight going after the first round?
So initially, I was a little bit concerned about the range management of Lemos, but But I quickly went into, oh, no, I'm winning this bet. As soon as I blinked and Virna blast double legged her, took her down and just started working. So I was pretty confident that Virna was going to be able to repeatedly take her down. Again, she's so methodical. She's really methodical, very impressed with her decisions. And the critique I would make for Lemos is she was kind of trying to jujitsu with Virna.
Yeah.
When she would explode, that's where she had the advantage because she's, big, strong, explosive, powerful fighter. And so she would create some explosions, but then she wouldn't run out. She would kind of re-engage. And I mean, to Virna's credit, she was pulling her back in and making those adjustments. So I thought it was just extremely impressive. I really like Virna's jiu-jitsu. I love the fact that even though, she does have a little bit of a striking deficit, her strikes are for the takedown to set things up. I think that she, uses her abilities extremely well.
It was funny seeing her timing in this one, especially that first round. Like you said, Lemos was finding range. She was throwing some stuff up. But as soon as she switched stance, that's when Virna shot in. And then you could see when she was going to shoot in on the next one because Lemos has a cadence where she looks, she feints, and then maybe she resets to try to get another read on stuff. And that's when Virna would shoot in and get underneath her. The first round, she got a clean takedown, and Lemos, she does that mistake that we were talking about, or that you were talking about last week, where you get hungry for that guillotine finish and you jump for it. She did it when I fought Lemos. She jumped for the guillotine. I ended up passing and almost, well, maybe not almost, but I was setting up a Von Flue. The commentators are like, she's not setting up a Von Flue. I was setting up a Von Flue. I was. I knew what I was doing. I had that hand and I was like, I'm not letting it go. You keep that over my head. But she jumps for that guillotine. She must get it in training. She got it against Michelle Watterson. And when she did that in this fight, she ended up just giving up that whole position, not being in a position where she could fight to get back to her knees to get up. And Virna just took advantage of her. And I was impressed with Lemos's grappling with the counter stuff. She was rolling for leg, foot stuff, foot locks, and trying to make it weird on the ground. I think that's what Lupi tried to do against Virna as well. Just tried to make it weird on the ground and not let Virna settle and sit on you for the whole round. But she still wasn't able to disengage. She wasn't able to get away. And once you're in there long enough with Virna, you realize this is a huge energy drain, and this girl could clamp on you all day. It doesn't matter if Virna's on top or on bottom. She's happy. And that's what you saw in the second round. She goes for that takedown. I feel like Lemos might have tried to do like that kickover thing that you're good at and just ended up falling in a weird position. Virna's underneath her, but she's still in control of the grapple situation. And that back take was so impressive.
Yeah.
How the fuck did she do that?
She just kept holding on.
She like went for some weird shit. Clamped up her leg, took her back. That was crazy.
Yeah, she just held on. She was really good at backpacking and staying tight and reading Lemos's movements and figuring out where she was going to go. Because again, like somebody who is explosive, you can kind of feel them leveling up their energy and when they're going to go. And it was just a matter of time before Virna was going to start getting ahead of her and capitalizing on, the small, I don't want to say mistakes, but just she has so
just
much
scrambles.
Yeah.
She
just has so much experience and body awareness that, she just feels things differently.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to watch as, somebody who loves grappling. I definitely took some notes, and I would love to break down that armbar finish from the back.
Yeah, we have to break down the back take too, because I'm still like, what the fuck? Like, how did she do that? Yeah, so we'll have to break down that armbar. But what did you think about the fight before that, which was Seungwoo Choi versus Steve Garcia? Seungwoo Choi versus Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia, I had to look twice at what weight class these guys are in because they were big as fuck. I thought we were watching a welterweight fight.
No, they were big guys.
Two big old 6 foot tall featherweights.
So this fight, I think it was kind of a theme for this whole card was that the brawler type fighter can take the more technical, refined striker out of their game and they can win. This is, we saw it a couple times in different fights, but that's exactly what Garcia did. He found his opening and just started like charging with a barrage of punches, and it put Choi back on his back heel, and it just didn't give him any time to recover.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm noticing as, the more I watch fights, the more I'm trying to, break down fights and technique. Sometimes you just don't technique.
You just gotta go.
You just gotta go.
Yeah.
You just gotta hit that fuck it. And you just got to go forward and throw. Like the 38 punch combination that was landed unanswered ended in TKO earlier in the night.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you can take somebody out of their game, and you can beat them in that way.
Yeah, especially the Korean fighters, right? But it was a weird one because these guys are so big. I think maybe with both of them, they're used to having a little more range. They're used to being able to play on the outside a bit more. But all of a sudden, you're in that range and they're in that range at the same time. So you see two big guys just kind of throwing at each other and just trying to see what happens. And when you watch Steve Garcia's warm-up video, he's hitting hard. Like, he is cracking those pads, and you can almost feel the thud that comes from this guy's arms. Like, he has the nice, long, lanky arms. He seems like he has really good boxing, really knows how to get the weight behind his punches. So even in a wild flurry, he still has his hip torquing. He still has his shoulders moving, and that's a scary thing to get caught up in. It really is a 50-50 chance that you're going to either get dropped or drop the person. But if you're more comfortable in those situations, then you might be okay. So the technical striker will kind of close their eyes and just be like, let me just punch so I can exit. And the brawler will just bite down on their mouthpiece and go, all right, let's go. Let's see who drops first.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And I mean, I think I need to start taking a page out of their little notebooks and just hitting that move forward button.
Yeah.
Because that I'm definitely seeing a pattern with people being taken out of their game. People on paper that, have a little bit more precision, a little bit more precise and crispness to their punches are getting overwhelmed and put on their heels so that they can't execute their game plan.
It's like when we watch Bare Knuckle and you see that there's, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. But it's like when we watch Bare Knuckle and we see that you can get away with aggression just because the sting is so bad. Like, the sting will take you out of your element so fast because there's no glove. There's no padding. You're just feeling knuckle on face. So your brain doesn't work in the same way as it does when you're feeling a glove, when you're just feeling a thud. You're not feeling that crack. You're not feeling that maybe fracture, the swelling, the blood rushing to every spot that gets hit. And it's a very different feeling when you get hit with bare knuckle as opposed to getting hit with a glove. And I think the UFC gloves especially are fucking thin and hard. Like, I got a pair this weekend, I guess because I just signed a fight. So I finally got a pair of the new gloves. And let me tell you, you feel everything in them. Like, I hit pads with them the other day, and I could feel every knuckle that connected. Like, I could feel, okay, hitting with my last two knuckles, got to turn my fist over a little better so I can hit with my first two knuckles. I can feel the entire pad just crack. And then my pad holder, Adam, Coach Adam, he could feel it too. And these are in the little stiff, tiny pads that are supposed to take a lot of punishment. So the fact that he could feel my knuckles through those gloves means that someone's face is really going to feel them. And these guys are a lot bigger than me. So it's the same amount of padding. They don't do thicker padding for the higher weight classes. It's the same little thin piece of memory foam or whatever it is in those gloves. And those things, they got to hurt. So it might be brawler time with the new gloves on, just because you get so much reward for going at it.
Noted. I mean, we had a KO or TKO this weekend. I think it was Algeo. He took 2 hooks.
Yeah, Choi.
Yeah, he took 2 hooks to the head, and then he turned and looked, and I'm like, broken orbital. It's got to be, right? Yeah. Or I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's what I assumed it to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just hearing what you're saying about those gloves being, so minimal.
They are very minimalist.
They're going to be chipping away at those bones pretty easily. So yeah, that's definitely something to be aware of and adjust to.
Yeah, it feels like there's just enough padding in there to make sure that my hand doesn't break when I break the person's face. Just enough.
Turn him over. Turn him over.
It's not made for the person's safety that's getting hit. That's for sure. Yeah, that was a really interesting thing I saw throughout the fight too. And maybe it is an adjustment to these gloves and to the reactions that people are getting now after a few fight cards, because I feel like the first fight card was, what was the pay-per-view after my fight? I think $299 was the first fight card where they used the tiny gloves.
So, I mean, it's not necessarily enough fights to get a good, database, a good test pool, but it will be interesting just to see if the numbers of injuries, of handbrakes, of, lacerations, of knockouts, like what have you, if those numbers go up because of the gloves.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I noticed in the Apex last night was there was this squeaky little voice screaming.
Oh my God. Whose baby was that? It was Holobaugh.
Holobaugh?
Holobaugh.
Holobaugh?
I can't.
Holobaugh? Holobaugh. His kid was holobahing all night. He couldn't stop Holobaugh.
Oh my God, just screaming.
Yeah. He was fighting Kruschewsky. Mm-hmm. And every round, this kid was just screaming, but screaming good advice.
Fair.
It was good advice. I remember something happened. He went for a takedown or something, and his head got stuck in the guillotine, and I heard, "Head up!" He's not wrong.
I mean, not the most technically sound advice, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. You got to get your head up. You can't just come in there with your head tucked, or you're going to get choked out. Kid's right. That was pretty funny. It made me feel like that's what people hear when I corner them. Because I've always been told that my voice carries.
Oh, I've told you that. It does. I think everybody tells you that.
And whenever you hear your voice on tape, it sounds stupid because it's not what you hear in your head. Mm-hmm. So whenever I hear my voice on tape, I'm like, who's that kid? Who's this dumb kid? Oh, it's me. But I feel like it's a similar thing. The frequency just cuts through. I could hear his kid louder than I could hear his corner.
Oh, definitely. I don't know where he was, like, with the microphones.
Yeah.
Maybe he was really close to the commentary desk.
They had him mic'd up. He was the corner mic.
He was
just put it on my kid.
Yeah. No, it was really distracting to me. It didn't distract him in a bad way. Maybe it motivated him.
I think it did. Hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, he got the win. So, maybe he needs to bring him a few more times and see the data on that. Uh-huh. But yeah, it was really interesting. One thing that I did notice about Kruschewsky.
Kruschewsky. I'm correcting you, but I have no idea.
I'll allow it.
Actually, it's Kruschewsky.
I'll allow it. This is another one of those fights where the person going forward just said, fuck it, and I'm going to throw. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying he's a brawler, like he's untechnical, but he took the more polished, crisp striker and he took him out of his game. He put him on his heels. He didn't allow the space that Kruschewsky needed to execute his game plan well. Yeah. And it just really took the wind out of his sails, and he started, jumping for guillotines. He started trying to just force things that weren't necessarily there.
Yeah, and he landed on him too. He dropped him in that second round. Commentary was going crazy, like, why would he shoot on him? But I don't know. I feel like a lot of times when you sting someone, when you almost drop them, you think it's going to be easy to take him down and submit him. And that's his bread and butter. He likes to get on top. He likes to hit him, TKO, or submit. So it seemed like a good idea to me. You drop him, you still got about a minute left in the round. Let's take him down real quick and submit him. He didn't expect the guy would wake up immediately and grab on his neck and stall things out again. But it was a really good fight. I thought it was really cute that he was happy about his family being there and being able to hear them, because that's usually when I'm like, I don't know.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
A lot of people, I always think about Khalil Roundtree when
and his mom.
He yelled at his mom. I would never. I feel like my mom would jump over the cage and beat me if I did that. She would have the switch ready somehow. Someone would have got her a switch, and she would have climbed into that cage and be like, "What did you say?" But I would never tell my mom to shut up like that.
I would.
Well, that's different. Different upbringings.
Yeah, I would.
Very different upbringings.
Now, my father, on the other hand.
See, I tell my dad to shut up all day.
See, it's just different.
It's just different.
Different family dynamic.
Different strokes for different folks. Strokes of the switch on the tree. Yeah. So I always think about that, and I realize, some people can't handle that pressure of their family being right there.
I don't
screaming, bloody murder, all out of love, but sometimes it could be really distracting.
Well, for me, it's not necessarily the pressure, but I don't want my family to see me and worry about how they're seeing me in case I get messed up, or if I get cut, or if I'm in bad positions. I don't want them to experience that, and I don't want to worry about them and what they're feeling and experiencing. Yeah. I just feel like, certain family members you don't take to war with you.
Exactly. And some you
can
do.
Stay at home.
I'll
talk to you later.
I know, right? See you after, once my face heals up. Yes. I don't want you to talk about that either. What happened? Did you lose again? God damn it. That's why I don't talk to you.
Time out.
Family can be the worst.
Yes.
The Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva fight was full of drama. So did you see anything in the pre or post fight stuff about them training together? Because I thought that was kind of weird.
So
right?
I wanted to talk about that too, because they said the broadcast team was talking about how they were literally training alongside each other on the mat, taking the same classes.
For this fight?
What? Like, I would never.
What?
No way.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I understand for a title fight.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would be kind of like in The Ultimate Fighter, where when two team members were fighting each other, they just switch the times that you're going to train. So you avoid each other. You give each other the space and respect that you need to, train fully. But, yeah, they said they were training alongside each other.
That's crazy.
With different coaches, different training partners, of course, but it was a divided gym. And I just, as somebody who really values and cares about my teammates and my training partners, I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
That would be really hard for me.
No, we kind of started opening the doors, or I guess I did. Started opening the doors of our training room just because it's so hard to find good female training partners our size. And it started coming up where every now and then someone would be scheduled to fight someone else. And you just have to make a decision. You have to say, okay, this person has been here longer, or this person is going to train longer with us or something. But you have to be like, okay, you can't train here. Not for this fight camp, at least, because it's just bad. It's just wrong. I'm already going to feel awkward. Like if they ask me questions about how to approach the fight, I really don't like that. I really don't like that at all. And it sucks because sometimes it's unavoidable, but a place like Top Team, it seems to happen a lot where it's almost expected. Everybody that you train with, you're sizing up. And I don't like that. I feel like it's not a great environment to grow. It's not a great environment just for your mental health, because you're going in there guarded. You're going in there thinking everyone's out to get you. And I much rather have that family feel when I come to a gym and I'm trying to learn how to fight and how to make money to put on the table. So yeah, I always didn't like that idea since I heard about the first time I heard about it was when John Jones fought Rashad Evans, and I thought that was the worst thing to ever happen in the history of fighting because I just started watching fights. But
well, there's a lot of trust that goes into the people that you train with, to your coaches. You trust these people to keep you safe, to guide you, and it's a very vulnerable relationship. So, you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears on the mat every day with these people that you train with, and all of a sudden it's divided, and now this person with all the information on you is coaching against you.
Yeah.
I've been fighting and heard, a former coach yelling for my opponent, and it affected me. I wish it hadn't, but it does. It'll start, just seeping in there. And it's not a good feeling, and fighting is hard enough. I don't want to worry about, all of my secrets and my vulnerable moments being exploited like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks. It's you almost gotta just say fuck it when you get caught in that situation. But if you can avoid it, for me, I feel like that's the best way. So, I guess knowing that some gyms are like that, future fighters can say, oh, I'm not going to go train at Top Team. I'm not going to train at Jackson Wink, because if it comes to me fighting another guy, even if it's not even for a lot of money, it's just for a 2020 purse, they're going to be like, do it, bro. We get twice the amount of commission because two guys are fighting from our gym. So let's go. I always felt like that's looking at the what do you call it, looking at the pennies before the dollars. You're just you're not looking at the long game, you're looking at the short-term gain, and in the meantime you're losing the trust of your fighters lose the trust of their teammates, and it creates a more hostile environment than it needs to be. So Durden seemed super upset about this whole situation, and I kind of feel like that's what lost him the fight.
It very well could have. Again, it's those little, voices of doubt, those things you're hearing. He's being cornered against by people that he knows and trusted and know him. So I'm sure that could have affected him in a very serious way in the fight.
And he was doing magnificently up until the moment that he got knocked out. Yeah. Like, he was mauling Bruno Silva, just on top of him, grinding him out, getting him into every position that he wanted. And then just the pressure of Durden was really impressive. And then just a quick lapse of judgment. He rushed in. He didn't faint first. It almost seemed like luck, because every moment up until then it worked. But this one moment, as he changed level, Bruno Silva was able to land the biggest uppercut from his back pocket, knock Durden's mouthpiece out, and drop him like crazy. And then, part of me was like, that's early stoppage. He's fine. But then when they pulled him off him, he was like,
yeah.
Whoa.
It was a good call.
God damn. Yeah, good reffing. Yeah. Good reffing for sure. I felt horrible for him. But then I saw how happy Bruno Silva was, and the fact that Durden seemed kind of disrespectful towards his skill set, like maybe just got the best of him in the gym a lot and felt like this was an easy fight. Kind of wanted to prove to Bruno Silva that he didn't deserve to step up to him. And I think a lot of that ego, a lot of the aggression, him pacing back and forth after the eye poke, going, it was a punch. Little moments like that made me think that he wasn't fully thinking in the way he would have if there was no drama attached to the fight.
Yeah, sometimes emotions can really get the better of us.
Mm.
And I've gone back and forth with, you know, feeling like a cool, calm, collected, composed fighter is the kind of fighter I want to be. But sometimes the emotion, the anger, the fuel, you know, can make somebody be that much more devastating inside the cage. But when you don't harness your emotions in the right way, it can lead to that. Yeah,
look at Virna and her walkout.
Oh my God, it was the best thing ever. I love that song too. You know, it made me like her so much more.
Right?
Like, oh
I was like, okay.
You're adorable.
All right, look at you.
I'm having a good time too, girl.
She's singing it, singing queen, dancing around, like doing this.
So cute.
Yeah. And then I was laughing about her little post fight thing. She said the champ is here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what song is that? She went, the champ is here. Do 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 do. I'm like, wait, what?
I was a little confused too, but I got it. What? I'm like, you go, girl. This is your moment. You take it.
Yes, it's an original piece. It's her own new walkout song. She'll be the next Brazilian to walk out to their own music.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, yeah, someone needs to remix that. But yeah, I do agree. I think there's a level somewhere in between heated, emotional, and cool, calm, and collected that you have to be. And everyone's different, but you have to figure out what that level is where you're making the best decisions in the moment and not being too chill or too rash and just doing the best of your ability in that gear. And I think Durden was just a little too high on that emotional level and ran right into an uppercut. And Silva was chilling. He was getting his ass kicked, but he seemed like he was chilling. Like he didn't seem like it was a personal attack or a personal decision or anything. He seemed very much in the moment the entire fight, even though he was getting beat up.
I mean, I think that's the key thing right there is what you just said, is taking it personal. You know, it's hard not to take it personal.
Yeah.
You know, the build up and the lead up to the fight, I understand how he got into his emotions, and, you know, it's a good learning experience to let things go.
Let it go, let it go. Oh, I did think it was cool though when he when Durden went for that anaconda guillotine combo. I was just like, let's go. There were a lot of jumping to gillies.
There were
fight card,
and it ended up,
and we had 0 finishes.
I know. It's hard. Like you see them, they're available, but there is a method to securing them. And sometimes people get caught up in the moment and it's heated and you just want to, you know, go for something. Your body just kind of goes on autopilot with it. And it may not be the best decision, jumping for a guillotine and then ending up on your back.
Yeah. Like with this one, he ended up on top, I'm pretty sure. But still, there were a lot of moments where people just said, let's go. I feel like everyone got their Jump the Gilly t-shirt in the mail. I just got mine last week. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's why everyone was just on that mindset of let's do it. Let's do it for Dustin. Unfortunately, everyone's results were like Dustin's.
He's such a trendsetter.
Yeah. Jump the Gilly and don't get it. That's the trend.
There's a time and a place for it. It's like Kelleher. He jumped for it, and he was passed. It was actually beautiful, beautiful timing by Gibson.
Yeah.
So But he was kind of discombobulated when he did it. I know it's a technique that he favors in his fights in the training room. He does them all the time. So I understand why his body wanted to do that. It just wasn't the best time for it. It would have been wiser to, snap down, secure it more before jumping to it, because he got passed, and then Gibson passed really quickly to a head and arm.
Yeah.
Really, really quickly.
He almost jumped to mount at one point. But yeah, when he jumped for the gilly the second time, he was able to get right to the back. And that's the problem with jumping it when you don't have your legs in a good spot. You're not able to control what happens after they get their head free or right before they get their head free. If you don't have that control of a situation, you're kind of doing it in desperation because you feel the neck. You feel like, oh, it's right there, and it's never right there until it's there. Yeah. You really got to set it up. It makes me a little more happy about my last submission, just because there was a point where I was beating myself up for not going for it sooner, but I feel like it was probably the right moment because I had secured that position so many times and finally felt, okay, this is the time to bite. And, a lot of times you don't get all those looks. You don't get all those opportunities to suss it out. And sometimes it works out for people, but more likely than not, especially with this card, it did not work out for people. There were about 5 fights where the person just went for the guillotine and the person's head popped out and they ended up in a really bad position afterwards.
Yep.
That Kelleher fight was something else. And in Gibson, this was a huge win for him because he was coming off of a 2-fight lose streak. He just got into the UFC. There's always that fear of losing your job after one fight, after one loss in the UFC, and he was coming off of 2. He's fighting someone who has that veteran skill, that experience to pull off the upset again and make it 0-3. So he was probably dealing with a lot coming into this fight, and to put on a performance like he did, it was just a shutout performance. He was able to shut down Brian Kelleher, who is an amazing fighter, despite his record. I thought that was really impressive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for a fighter to dig themselves out of that loss hole.
Yeah. The lost hole is a sucky hole to be in.
It does, and it can suck you down, and it can keep you down.
Yeah, it's like a black hole.
It really is. It's a vortex. It's awful. So it's always, I'm always rooting for both people to put their best foot forward, and it's always, because I've been there, you've been there. We've all, had losses behind us, and so it's always a nice moment when I see fighters dig themselves out of it.
And he made a lot of changes. Like he went and trained in Vegas, started training with Algeo and Patchy Mix, our girl's boy. So so there were a lot of changes that he made that I feel like built his confidence and allowed him to get over that loss hole. And I think a lot of times when you're a good fighter and you just happen to lose a couple times, confidence is the biggest thing that you have to build. And it's hard to get that confidence when you're doing the same thing that you did when you lost. So switching things up, being able to train with guys that have more experience, that have been where you want to be, and be able to pick their brain, maybe have some good days against them, that's definitely going to build your confidence and make you perform better than you would have if you stuck around doing the same thing. So, yeah, that was cool. That was cool to watch. And can we talk about the return of Korean Superboy, Choi?
Sure.
He was so sweet.
He is so cool. So 5 years. 2 fights, 5 years.
That's crazy.
It's a crazy, crazy gap in competition.
Yeah, especially considering how huge he was before he stopped.
He was on a tear.
Yeah.
I mean, he was having big fights. He fought Cub Swanson was it a main event? he was really, really working himself up there and doing really well for himself.
And then
just
Jeremy came along.
Yeah. Jeremy does that to people.
He ruins people's lives.
He does. He hurts their feelings.
He's such a sweetheart, though. You would never guess by looking at his highlight reel.
So glad we're friends, you know?
I'm so glad you're not fighting someone I love.
Exactly.
You're that guy. You're always the guy I love, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, after that fight, I think there was another one where he just came up short. I think it was probably hard for him to pick himself up out of that hole we were talking about, the lost hole, and to touch that like superstardom so fast. It's rare in the UFC to become a quick superstar, but a lot of times these people, they reach that top, they get that superstardom, and then after a couple losses, they're gone. They become just a flash in the pan. They're like a Sage Northcutt. Or, we even see a little bit of that happening with Paddy Pimblett. He hasn't lost, but a lot of people have lost that excitement about him. And it's hard to gain that back. And it's hard to mentally overcome that being, I don't know from personal experience because I've never had a hype train, but I can imagine that the higher you go, even before getting the belt, the easier it is to lose confidence in yourself once you fail. And I think that was a huge moment, this win for Choi to come back. He had Korean Zombie in his corner, and he was able to get that huge knockout and show new wrinkles to his game, too. It showed a little grappling, which you must have loved. Yeah, a little tackle and grapple, and then used that to set up his knockout. Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
And it was a beautiful knockout. That was one of the knockouts that I was talking about where it could have been, from the gloves, such a big reaction from Algeo.
Yeah.
Looking like his orbital could have been possibly broken. Taking, two big left hooks.
Yeah, he as he was getting up, he threw like a huge loaded hook, and then a few moments later landed another one, and that second one just
caught him right on the edge.
Yeah, he did the hold up 1 second. That's how you know something messed up.
Yeah.
Like he was done. At this point, that's basically a TKO. But he was like, wait, Choi waited, and then he realized, I think he might have thought it was an eye poke because of how horrible it felt. And then you could see the pain rush in his body language. It was just horrible to watch.
Yeah, it was a good stoppage. It was a great performance. And it was a very impressive comeback from Choi. And I'm happy to see it. Of course, I'm never really happy to see somebody, have to sit out through injury for, as long as he's probably going to have to. But it was an impressive comeback, and it was a beautiful moment with him and Korean Zombie afterwards. And that's gotta be, go get him, Butcher. That's got to be very motivating to have a veteran like that on your side and, give you some confidence and comfort in there, which is important.
Yeah, everyone loves Korean Zombie. He had that was one of my handful of teary moments when Korean Zombie retired after putting on that crazy fight with Max Holloway. I love how Max gave him the room, and I love how everyone was singing his song afterwards. And he's one of those fighters where it's a lot of people's first favorite fighters.
Yeah.
I came into the scene pretty late, and I saw him fight what's his name? The guy who he twisted. What's his name? The guy who
Leonard Garcia?
Yeah, Leonard Garcia. And I watched him lose to Leonard Garcia, and I'm like, that's stupid. He should have won. I love that guy. He's so cool. And that's the type of feeling you get when you see him. And I think it's definitely a warm moment to see him passing on that, I guess, superstardom to the next generation in Choi.
Yeah, Korean Zombie is one of those fighters that just transcend wins and losses. What he represents and the emotions that he gives people is a really beautiful thing, and it's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very easy to love him and root for him, no matter if he loses, or draws.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have a lot of other things to talk about, but I'm wondering if we should save it for our exclusive
Wonder no more.
content. So I was talking to my brother the other day, and he was like, "What's going on with that exclusive content? I can never find it. What are you talking?" So maybe we should explain. If you join Two Straws, there's a little button, or there'll be a link on the description, and it's a link to join. It's $1.99 a month, and basically what you do is you become a member of Two Straws, and you just support the page. It's $1.99 a month. It goes straight to the podcast. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's not going in Jess's G-string on her OnlyFans unless you want it to.
Like and subscribe.
It's not going to Adam's whiskey collection unless you want it to. But yeah, if you become a member, you're basically subscribing to Two Straws, and then you can get early access to stuff like the bonus content. You can get exclusive access to stuff like fight camp updates, little random skit bloopers, stuff like that we're not going to post for everyone, just for our special people who pay $1.99 a month. So make sure to click that link if you want to watch the bonus exclusive right now. Give us your money. It's very cheap, and we'll be super grateful.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Well, we will see you special, super cool fans immediately after this. And then everyone else on like Tuesday at midnight. Bye.